You feel that your lyrics hit hard and your wordplay showcases real talent, and yet you know something's not clicking when you perform that's preventing your true potential from shining through. You see, despite mastering the technical aspects of rap, there's a disconnect between the confidence you feel when writing and the energy you project when delivering those same bars out loud. But this common struggle has nothing to do with your natural voice or lack of stage experience. It's actually caused by following traditional rap advice that teaches rhythm in a way that conflicts with how speech naturally works. So the breakthrough comes from understanding that the most compelling rap voices don't fight against natural speech patterns. They enhance them using techniques that create instant connection with listeners. Therefore, in today's episode of How to Rap, we expose why your rap voice sounds like you're reading and how to fix it. Before we expose why your rap sounds like you're reading a script, be sure to pick up our Rap Voice Mastery course, which comes as a free bonus when you sign up using the first link in the video description. You see, while this video reveals key rules on how to improve your rap delivery, the full training below delivers specific exercises, video deep dives, and much more, so grab it now before the free bonus discount disappears. So without further ado, let's dive into why your technically perfect delivery might sound completely lifeless. Picture this, someone hands you a microphone, you spit your best 16 bars, and every single person in the room immediately knows you're a beginner. Not because your lyrics are weak or your voice is bad, but because you sound exactly like someone reading a grocery list out loud. This happens to talented writers constantly as they craft incredible verses on paper, but deliver them with all the personality of a GPS giving directions. The root cause comes from believing good delivery means hitting every single beat perfectly, like some kind of human metronome. This obsession with mathematical precision kills everything that makes speech interesting, including the natural speed changes and emphasis patterns that give conversation its life. When normal people talk, they never speak in perfect rhythm, yet somehow rappers convince themselves that's exactly what rap requires. Professional rappers figured out this trap years ago and developed what insiders call pocket technique, the art of dancing around the beat instead of being married to it. J. Cole's transformation shows exactly how to break free from robotic delivery by studying his early radio appearances versus his later work. Listen to his 2011 mixtapes where every syllable lands precisely on beat, creating a mechanical feel despite strong lyrics. Compare that to Born Sinner, where he lets words spill over bar lines and pulls back from predictable rhythms, creating space for emotion. He achieves this by treating the beat as a suggestion rather than a rule, allowing his natural speaking rhythm to determine where words fall. You can practice this technique by first recording yourself reading your verse with zero concern for rhythm, just focusing on which words you naturally emphasize. Then play the beat quietly in the background and notice where your natural emphasis aligns or conflicts with the rhythm. The goal isn't to force alignment, but to find the interesting tension between your speech patterns and the beat structure. 21 Savage demonstrates a completely different pocket approach through intentional lag that makes simple words hit like hammers. He deliberately places his vocals slightly behind the beat, never rushing to catch up, which creates constant tension that keeps listeners locked in. This technique works because it mirrors how people speak when they're supremely confident, taking their time regardless of external pressure. To develop this skill, practice rapping your verses while walking slowly, letting your pace dictate the delivery rather than the beat's tempo. Start by identifying the words that carry the most emotional weight in your bars and practice delaying them by just a fraction of a second. This creates anticipation and makes even basic lyrics feel significant because the listener's ear expects the word sooner than it arrives. The key to escaping reading syndrome lies in recognizing that perfect beat matching actually sounds less professional than strategic imperfection. Your homework involves recording 3 versions of the same verse with completely different timing approaches to discover your natural pocket. First version hits every beat precisely, second version deliberately lags behind, third version pushes slightly ahead of the beat. Master this balance between conversation and rhythm, and your verses transform from rehearsed recitation into living expression. But knowing when to lag or push means nothing if you're still breathing like a robot, destroying your flow at predictable 4-bar intervals. Real conversation follows its own rules, speeding up during excitement and slowing down for emphasis without any concern for perfect timing. Professional rappers discovered they could balance authentic speech with musical rhythm by landing most of their words slightly off the beat while keeping just enough on it to maintain structure. The secret lies in mapping your natural breathing patterns first, then building your delivery around those organic pauses rather than forcing breath at bar endings. Start by telling an exciting story to your phone's voice recorder. Then mark every spot where you naturally pause for breath. These breath points become your delivery anchors, the non-negotiable moments where your flow resets regardless of where they fall in the beat structure. Traditional rap instruction tells you to breathe at the end of every 4 bars, but this creates robotic patterns that destroy conversational flow. Instead, practice your verses using only your natural breath map, ignoring bar structure completely until this pattern becomes automatic. Kendrick Lamar mastered this conversational breathing technique by treating each character he portrays as a real person with distinct speech patterns. On ADHD from Section 80, notice how his breath patterns shift between the hyperactive verses and the calmer hook, matching the emotional state rather than musical structure. He achieves this by first speaking his verses in character without any music, finding where that specific persona would naturally pause. The technique requires recording yourself performing the same verse as different characters, noting how breath placement changes with emotion and energy. Practice switching between excited delivery with short, frequent breaths and calm delivery with longer, deeper pauses. This character-based approach trains your brain to prioritize emotional authenticity over mechanical precision. Your delivery improves dramatically when you stop thinking about breathing as a technical requirement and start using it as an expressive tool. Nicki Minaj demonstrates advanced breath control by using strategic gasps and pauses to build tension before explosive delivery sections. In her monster verse, she breathes mid-phrase at unexpected moments, creating urgency that standard bar end breathing could never achieve. She practices this by intentionally placing breaths in uncomfortable spots during rehearsal, training her lungs to support unconventional patterns. The technique involves running in place while practicing your verses, forcing irregular breathing that reveals new rhythmic possibilities. This physical training breaks the mental connection between bar structure and breath placement, freeing you to breathe wherever serves the performance. Advanced practitioners map 3 different breath patterns for the same verse, choosing based on the energy level required for each performance. Quiet, intimate shows might use longer phrases with fewer breaths, while high-energy performances employ rapid-fire breathing that matches crowd energy. The key insight is that breathing doesn't interrupt flow when it enhances meaning rather than following arbitrary rules. Practice delivering your verses while doing different activities like climbing stairs, jogging, or even lying down to discover how physical state affects optimal breath placement. Record each version and notice which breathing patterns create the most compelling delivery for different emotional contexts. Your goal isn't finding one perfect breath map, but developing flexibility to adjust breathing based on what each moment demands. This conversational approach to breathing transforms mechanical recitation into living breathing performance that connects with listeners on a visceral level. Yet all this natural flow disappears the moment you hit record or step on stage, unless you train your nervous system with a specific 3-phase process that locks in pocket technique under pressure. Knowledge alone won't save you when the spotlight hits and your practice techniques vanish into nervous energy. The solution requires building muscle memory through a 3-phase training system that makes pocket technique automatic even under extreme pressure. Phase 1 strips away the beat entirely, forcing you to find your voice's natural rhythm without any external guide. Record yourself performing your verse with no beat, no metronome, no timing reference whatsoever, just pure expression. This naked delivery reveals your authentic emphasis patterns, the places where your voice naturally rises, falls, speeds up, or slows down. Mark these natural emphasis points on your written lyrics using highlighters or symbols to create a visual map of your instinctive flow. The goal is discovering what your voice wants to do before any beat tells it otherwise. Tyler, the creator, built his distinctive delivery by first developing his voice in isolation before ever touching a beat. His early Odd Future work shows him experimenting with extreme vocal variations, screaming, whispering, and everything between without concern for traditional flow. He practices new verses by performing them in different emotional states first: angry, sad, excited, bored, finding which emotions naturally create which rhythmic pattern. This emotional mapping technique involves performing your verse 5 times with 5 different emotional intentions, recording each version. Listen back and identify which emotional state creates the most compelling rhythm, then use that as your baseline delivery. The magic happens when you realize your natural emotional rhythm is more interesting than any perfectly timed flow could ever be. Phase 2 introduces the beat at a half volume, quiet enough that your established vocal patterns still dominate the mix. This gentle reintroduction trains your brain to maintain natural delivery while acknowledging the beat's presence without becoming enslaved to it. Practice your verse with the beat barely audible, like background music in a restaurant, present but not demanding attention. Your voice should still follow the emotional map you created in phase 1, with the beat serving as gentle seasoning rather than the main ingredient. Future revolutionized modern rap by treating beats as atmospheric textures rather than rigid timekeepers during this phase of development. He lets his voice float over production, sometimes matching the rhythm, sometimes completely ignoring it, always prioritizing melodic expression over technical precision. Phase 3 introduces conscious pocket manipulation through what professionals call push and pull exercises. Set your beat at full volume and practice the same 4 bars 3 ways, first landing directly on beat, then slightly ahead, then slightly behind. This deliberate practice builds conscious control over timing, transforming accident into intention. The exercise feels awkward initially because your brain resists the imprecision, but push through until each timing feels equally natural. Advanced mastery comes from switching between all 3 timings within a single verse, using placement as an emotional tool. Aggressive sections push ahead, creating urgency, while vulnerable moments pull back, creating space for emotion to breathe. Your daily practice should cycle through all 3 phases, spending equal time on each until pocket technique becomes as natural as walking. With that said, if you want even more personalized rap voice training, remember to click the first link in the video description in order to get that rap voice mastery course as a free bonus on the page. We hope this episode of How to Rap helped, and peace until the next one.